cities all across the country, they're talking about darkness. That's all you see.
Sorry, this camcorder
And you look into the
on the
culture,
other
and I pay attention to this stuff, and we see a lot of darkness, right? You think, oh, Kardashians and The Bachelor and all. We see all that stuff on TV. And I want to encourage you to tell you that that's not what's going on in America. It's not reflective of America. That is reflective, for sure, of the coast. That's what's going on culturally in Washington, D.C. and New York and some of the other major cities around the country, but that is not what's going on in the country at large. In the country at large, a great awakening is taking place. People of faith all over the country are stepping up and participating in the lives of their communities. They're creating culture. They're participating in the culture. They're reaching out to their friends and neighbors. That's the most important thing going on in America. So I want to tell you guys, if you participate in one thing and one thing only, it's not convention of states. It's participate in the Great Awakening. Spread the good news, spread the gospel, let your neighbors know that you love them. Bring that into this legislature. This is a big deal, and I will tell you, we are doing something radical and transformative in the legislatures around the country, which is, and I learned this partially from Tom Coburn, we go into those legislatures and we love on the people in those legislatures. Not always easy, right? And we come in, I can tell you, I come in as a grassroots activist with a pretty hard heart. I come in, generally, I thought, I don't like these guys, they're here for themselves, they're greedy, they're everything you can name that's bad. It's not true. That's wrong. Those are our brothers and our sisters. Randy said almost all the people in that legislature are good people. Those are our opponents that are good people. Those are other parties that are good people. They're there for the right reasons because they believe they can do things for their communities and for their constituents. That's why most people go in. And some of them get corrupted inside. Some of them lose their way. But our job is not to go beat them up. Our job is to go love on them, try to give them guidance as constituents, and to let them know that we appreciate them no matter what. That is the Great Commission. That's what we're doing, right? So that's the most important thing that you could do with your life, even politically. Right? Politics and religion don't mix, right? Wrong. Politics and religion are one and the same. There's no such thing. If you separate your politics from your religious beliefs, that's immoral. Right? That's politics without guiding principles. That's immoral. That's what we all hate. So I think you bring it in. You bring your heart, your spirit, and your religion with you into that legislature. And that says that we love on those people. That's number one. We are part of a great awakening. I promise you it's going on in America. I see it every single day. I come in, I meet folks like you. You make me cry. I'm so happy with what I see when I come into legislatures. I meet people like you and legislators, former legislators like this, legislators like Gary Stubblefield and Austin McCollum, these great heroes and champions that I see in this legislature. The number two thing we're doing is not convention of states. The number two thing we're doing is we are building the largest grassroots self-governing army in the history of America. The founders said something really important to us, and they said it in a lot of different ways. A lot of founders said it. I'm not near as eloquent as them. But you remember Ben Franklin, when he comes out of the convention, famously, supposedly said, somebody asked him, what have you given us? And he said, a republic, if you can keep it. He didn't say if I can keep it. He didn't say if really smart folks in Washington, D.C. can keep it. He didn't say if a bunch of politicians who you elect can keep it. He said if you can keep it. You. And you, and you, and you, and me, and all of us have an obligation to keep that republic. That's what we're doing. That's what we're engaged in. Founders told us that the Constitution itself was a parchment barrier, right? Only a parchment barrier. What's that mean? It sounds pretty negative towards the Constitution. Just words on paper. What they meant was, they are just words on paper, unless they're also etched in your heart. Unless you're willing to fight for them. Unless you're willing to die for them. Unless you're willing to give everything for them. There are a lot of people here today that have other things they could be doing. There are a lot of people that could be at work earning money, and they're not earning money, and maybe they're even struggling. A lot of people have spouses that maybe aren't happy that they're here today. A lot of people sacrificing a lot to be here because we, as a group, understand that that Constitution is only a parchment barrier. That's all it is. It's only as good as us and our hearts. And for me, when I travel around the country and I get to be with you, there is nothing that proves the greatness of this country better than you. You know, I'll close with this. The last thing, I hear this all the time, and it's actually the one thing that really gets my blood boiling. I really have to hold my tongue when I hear this. Randy brought it up earlier. I get legislators and citizens all the time tell me, well, there aren't any Madisons or Washingtons or Adams anymore. If there were, we could do this stuff, but those people don't exist anymore. And it makes me angry. And the reason it makes me angry is because I know you guys. It's not because I know famous people. It's not because there are great politicians in Washington, D.C., and there are some, but it's not because of that. It's because I know you guys. There aren't just a few Adams and Madisons and Washingtons and Henrys around. Not just a few. There's not just a few in a state. There are thousands. There are tens of thousands. There are hundreds of thousands in this country into whose hands I would gladly put the Constitution and the future of this country. When you go home tonight, and after we win, and I believe we're going to win today, when you go home tonight and you stand in front of that mirror and you brush your teeth, I hope you're going to brush your teeth. My brother's a dentist, I can always say that. When you go home tonight and you brush your teeth, I hope that when you look in the mirror, what you see is a great patriot. Don't see yourself out of the context of history. We tend to look at ourselves in the mirror and think, oh, I look tired, it's been a long day. What you should look at is see yourself in the shoes of the founders, the people who fought and won the American Revolution, the people who have always saved this country throughout its history, the men and women who gave their lives in the world wars to fight for freedom, for an idea overseas. That's what you should see when you look in the mirror, because those are the shoes that you walk in. And if you don't fill those shoes, if you're not willing to fill those shoes will disappear into the mist. Right? Ronald Reagan said every generation has to fight for liberty. It's one generation away from extinction. We all have our fight. We are facing an existential threat from within this country. And I am not just hopeful, I am jubilant and joyful because I believe that you guys have everything it takes to face that threat. So thank you very much for the privilege of standing with you in Arkansas. It is a great honor and privilege. God bless you all. Thank you.